the more we're able to peel back those layers, as uncomfortable as they may seem at first, those are the parts that help people.
Yeah.
So instead of just showing where you were, peeling back the deepest, darkest, hardest part, how you got over that hurdle, people that supported you through it, having just those stories, even listening to them, if they're totally different from your own, is still really helpful as a guide to kind of pull you through wherever you're at right now.
Welcome to the Visibility Strategies for Women Entrepreneurs podcast, where we empower female business owners to step boldly into the spotlight and claim the recognition they deserve. I'm your host, Tori Barker. I'm passionate about helping women like you transform your visibility into tangible business success. Each week on this show, we'll dive deep into game-changing strategies, share inspiring success stories from women who've mastered their visibility, and offer practical, actionable advice you can implement immediately. Whether you're just starting your entrepreneurial journey, pivoting your business model, or ready to elevate your existing presence to new heights, you'll discover effective approaches to create exciting opportunities and expand your reach. So let's harness the power of strategic visibility and grow your business together. Welcome to the show. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again on the podcast. I am super excited to introduce you to my guest, Megan Dirks. How are you, Megan?
I am fantastic today, and thank you for having me, Tori.
Yeah, so for the listeners who may not know you, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and this amazing project that you're working on, The Girl on the Left?
Yeah, and I'm so happy to dig in because I've had a very varied career, I guess, mainly entrepreneurial, and it has spanned digital marketing and brand strategy and design. And that has all kind of culminated into also being a board certified coach, being in the wellness space, and ultimately pulling all that together at an intersection where I've become the founder of the Girl on the Left project, where we help women flip the script on before and after transformation stories and also open a door for them into magazine print publications, authorship, speaking opportunities, and wherever they want to take that visibility wise.
I love that. So explain what the Girl on the Left project is.
Yeah, so that was born for me from having my own health journey and story that I felt really ashamed of for a lot of years. And I've gone into that many, many times. And I don't always love to recap it the same way at this point. But long story short, we've all been through something where we don't necessarily want to shine a spotlight on certain chapters of our life. Maybe we're not proud of the way we acted. Maybe we're just ashamed of a handful of cards that we did not ask to be dealt. Whatever it is, there's kind of a couple key pieces that we'd like to keep kind of buried. So, my challenge for myself, I was always taught coming from the coaching industry that you can always take a client or help a human as far as you've taken yourself.
Mm,
So, I'm sitting here and I know I'm sitting on this story that I do not want to share. And this version of me that I am not proud to speak on.
yeah.
And at some point, after some more years of inner work and shadow work and all the good self-growth tools, I realize I probably need to get that out in
Yeah.
some capacity. And I'm also probably not the only woman that feels that way. So, what are we going to do here? Because I didn't feel ready to do a solo book or a memoir or anything quite yet. And I didn't want that to take up that much space either yet.
Mm,
I wanted it to come out, but I didn't want it to be a focal point about where I am in my present. So
yeah.
I went on a journey finding 21 other women that also had something they were reluctant but healed enough to share.
Yeah.
And we pulled all of our stories together in a beautiful anthology that showcases before and afters, but with an emphasis on everything that happens in the middle, which tends to be a little messier.
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that because I think that's what's really important. Well, it's all important, but I think it's important to highlight that messy middle, right? And embrace that because not only people don't only we shouldn't have people see just the beginning and the end, right? Because that's not
Yeah.
realistic. There's a whole journey in a lifetime sometimes of that middle point, and I think that's really where the lessons and the connection comes from, right? Because people can relate to that messy middle, the struggles, the triumphs, the setbacks, unexpected situations, because that's how we all grow and learn and become that quote unquote end product, if you will. But, in reality, we're never finished, right? We're always
Yeah.
growing. It's just
It's
a new
really,
journey, right?
yeah, a chapter close.
Yeah.
And I agree 100% because a large part of this for me is being around so much of the wellness and transformation space. You get inundated in
Yeah.
social feeds with before and afters. And those are the only parts you see is the
Yep.
before photo and the after photo. Point
Yeah.
A, end goal for now.
Yeah.
And anything in the middle generally gets skipped or doesn't get shared as openly or as in depth. And I tend to call it the moments nobody claps for, right?
Yeah.
When we wake up and we don't hit the snooze button and
Yeah.
we actually do a workout or we actually nourish our bodies in a healthy way. There's nobody there liking that or leaving a
Yeah.
comment, hey, great job, or being
Yeah.
like, yeah, you did it. Um, there's so much invisible work that just goes unnoticed day to day.
Yeah. Well, and as you're talking, it makes me really think about the importance of building community, right? And I
Mhm.
think that's the messy middle and those, moments that nobody claps for, are the times that you need, a community or support system or some sort of accountability or just a friend, somebody who's there to help you along that journey. And I think that makes it for a much more enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
It helps push you along. It helps remind you of the reason you're doing the hard thing. So I'd love to hear, maybe how this book or the project, all of that, how that has helped you build a community that maybe was unexpected, or was intentional. I'd love to hear that part of it.
Yeah, definitely very intentional. Nobody comes into this project without a one-on-one conversation with me, and I will keep it that way forever. I want it to be a very strong, intentional sisterhood. No mean girls, no drama, no pretend to be nice and then behind the scenes screenshotting horrible messages or anything like that. So
Yeah.
we keep it very clean, very supportive. And for me, having that community and having that kind of sisterhood around the project, you are all doing your individual work with your stories. And at the same time, you're all working together to build a product that will
Yeah.
ultimately impact and inspire other women, hopefully.
Yeah.
So having that kind of shared goal as well bridges so much between different cultures, different age brackets, different places in the world that our authors were coming from as well. And nothing else mattered to anybody other than pouring their heart into their chapter and making sure our book came out with the just best experience possible for women to read.
Yeah. And I know one of the things that you and I talked about, prior to the call and, before we hit record today was the importance of authenticity in your story and your journey and how that truly relates to visibility. And so I'd love for you to talk about how, visibility with authenticity and owning your past versions of yourself is how you see that as success and true success in the story.
Yeah, and I think the more we're able to peel back those layers, as uncomfortable as they may seem at first, those are the parts that help people.
Yeah.
So instead of just showing where you were, peeling back the deepest, darkest, hardest part, how you got over that hurdle, people that supported you through it, having just those stories, even listening to them, if they're totally different from your own, is still really helpful as a guide to kind of pull you through wherever you're at right now.
Yeah.
So, very on the authenticity front, I also noticed that just annoyingly, the more vulnerable and authentic I was, the more we had positive support flowing in.
Mm,
So there's obviously something there where I know right now in the social media space and entrepreneurial space, we're in some people call a trust recession.
mm.
And I feel like we battle that with authenticity
Yeah.
and pulling back the curtain more and not hiding the hard parts and not gatekeeping the secrets that get us through those crappier moments.
Yeah, and even on the business side, to your point, I've been on several calls and attended workshops recently where a lot of female founders are talking about that, lack of gatekeeping, right? They thought that
Mhm.
beforehand that they had all the secrets and people had to pay them for, to unlock those secrets, right? And now they're in this abundance mindset where they're like, I want to share this knowledge that I have, and it's almost like you give to get, right? Like you not
Yeah,
give to get, but you know what I mean? Like it comes back to you in tenfold, right? So the more
yeah.
that you give, the more it comes back to you in a true and authentic way. And so, like you said, the lack of gatekeeping and authenticity really can in some ways unexpectedly, really grow and amplify your story, your business, your growth, your thought leadership, whatever it might be, because you're doing good and you're leading with service versus, expecting something in return.
Yeah, and I was on a call last night actually where it was a 30-minute consult. I was in the client position and I didn't feel gatekeeped. I felt like I
Mm.
actually had value, whether or not I moved forward with this person. It wasn't hidden behind a contract. It was,
Yeah.
I left with actionable things I could do. And there's so much value in that now, versus before, where the culture was very, here's a shiny post in the business world about how I, as an amazing woman, make multi seven figures. And
Yeah.
you can too if you buy my $5,000 program.
Yeah.
Um, and
But wait, there's
um,
more, right?
yeah. And also do this and also do this upsell and come on this retreat and pretty much buy my whole author stack before you learn anything.
Right.
And I know a lot of women that don't want to do that anymore,
Yeah.
myself included. And it's definitely not something I want to bake into the community either.
Yeah. When you were compiling these stories and these women, did you have any unexpected aha moments or lessons that you learned from these women that maybe you weren't something that you thought that you were going to get out of it? Like, I had this vision for it, but there are these other parts of it that just were like beautiful mistakes, if you will, or
Yeah. I mean, plenty of this happened for sure. We ended up doing a last minute crowdfund campaign around the
Mm,
project, which we threw together in 2 or 3 weeks, which is not optimal for planning a crowdfund campaign.
wow.
But we were trying to recoup some of our bootstrapped costs and also get private pre-orders early as well for the book. So we had early readers right out of the gate. And I did not expect our ladies to rally in terms of fundraising that openly with their heart on their sleeve for the project, where we earned back pretty much our initial 10K investment and had 200 pre-orders to boot.
Wow.
And I'd say maximum 30% of that was my network, which
Mm,
meant the other 70 all came from them rallying and actually going out into the world and talking to their family, talking to their friends, talking to their clients, talking to their mentors, and really believing in what we were building,
yeah.
beyond it just being a cute little project. So that was a huge heart punch for me, for sure.
And what I love about this project in the book is that it's not just a one-time thing, right? You have this enormous vision for so much more. I'd love for you to talk about, what that is, if you're willing to share the vision for how this moves on past this one book.
Yeah, and I think my challenge now is getting people to understand it's not just a book in the slightest. We do have really good publishing connections. We can put our ladies in print in magazine features. We can
Yeah.
have connections that leverage getting them on stages. So I really want to reposition it from being come right in our book
Yeah.
to come share your story and also enjoy a whole visibility package that comes with being in the community because realistically, a lot of women cannot afford the real price tags that come with a PR firm for a small
Right.
business,
Yeah.
or even getting their own publishing company for a solo book could take 0 to 2 years, very much on the later end of that,
Yeah.
and with a lot more red tape around it too. So,
Mhm.
taking those barriers down as we grow is really important for me, and also opening up beyond just women.
Yeah.
I want stories that focus on men. I want stories that focus on specific careers, like a coach's edition or a nurse's edition, or you name it. I see that potential because everybody does universally have a story. We've
Yeah.
all gone through something.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier that this is really, you see a through line of this within your marketing business. And so, I'd love for you to share about how you can build something and have the connectivity, right? And the growth, not only for yourself, but for the women who are in this book and what that looks like for them.
Yeah, and it's so weird to me because all of us who hid behind these layers or these certain stories that we kept to ourselves for so long, as soon as you get it out once, then it seems to turn into some kind of domino effect where
Yeah.
people tend to feel empowered. They start sharing it in more and more places. We've had in 2025, five of our co-authors take to stages to share their story in a spoken format to
Yeah.
inspire a group. And then we've had some that are drafting their own solo books now. We have a handful of those. So you can see kind of where the inspiration kicks off more confidence and more ability to step into more and more spaces.
Yeah.
And one of those spaces is usually creating their own business finally or stepping into an entrepreneurial pursuit of some kind, which has led them to me for the branding component for sure, to pull that all together and present it to the world.
I love that. And And I feel like, the internal visibility, I often talk about like the two types of visibility, the internal visibility and the external visibility.
Yeah.
And and it's beautiful when you see the healing and the confidence and the growth on the internal side, because then that only amplifies that external side, which is what you're talking about. These women who've, written their story, they've spoken their story, they have built this confidence and they feel empowered. And now that's turning into exponential things for them, right? More speaking opportunities, sharing their story again, impacting people, growing their business, starting new businesses. And
Yeah.
that's why I think, for me, visibility is such a passion of mine because I feel like there's so much that if you can just make that first step, right? The fear that comes in play whenever there's something new or something different or something that you've hidden or, held back from saying, once you get past that fear, it's like this amazing, beautiful, experience that's to come. And I'm sure you've had that as well.
Yeah, it's very just um validating's not the right word. Like mama hen isn't quite the right like term either, but anytime I watch any of the ladies go do something or they tell me about it and it's
Yeah.
branched off from what we started together, then I just get absolute heart swell. And that's the part I was missing so long in entrepreneurship, where I didn't have that heart-centered component that lit me
Yeah.
up. A lot
Yeah.
of people love to say that we're doing heart-centered work very loosely. And this was the first time where I knew unquestionably we were doing it and it was actually making an impact because we were
Yeah.
actually getting feedback on it regularly.
Yeah. You
And that
truly felt
felt
it.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, I'd love for you to wrap this up with a lesson or a piece of advice for the women listening who maybe feel like they have something to share, but they've been too afraid to come out and say it or, show their true authentic self? What's one of the first steps that they can do to lean into that new version of themselves?
Yeah, I'd say really sit with yourself. However many chapters you may have opened and closed in life already, I believe we all have 5 to 10 stories in us on a good day, easily. And sit with what ones kind of make you feel the most uncomfortable. And those are probably the ones to explore and dig a little further and dig a little deeper. And we've had so many women come to us that said, I don't think I have a story at all, Megan.
Mm.
And all of our jaws drop. We're like, what are you talking about? Or I don't know if that would help someone or a young girl or whatever. And it's an
Yeah,
undeniable yes, 99% of the time, right?
yeah,
So don't drown in your own layers of self-doubt or fear of not being enough or not enoughness or whatever that looks like for you. And just be open to the fact that yes, you have something worth saying, and yes, it will very likely help and inspire someone else along the way. So, whatever else after that, it's been reported it's a very therapeutic experience as well to kind of finally get that out of you. So,
yeah,
not every story is meant to be shared either. And if that's as far as you take it, just get it out of you privately. You
yeah.
don't need to put it in a book. You don't have to take it to a stage if you don't want to, but for your own inner work and your own healing, just get it out of you.
Yeah, that's so true. I love that point that you just made that, maybe it's not something that needs to be shared publicly, but it's necessary for your own healing or your own
Hmm.
growth to, get that story out of you somehow, privately, publicly, whatever it might
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
Uh, think of it as a very glorified journal entry.
Well, Megan, it's been such a pleasure chatting with you and sharing this amazing project. And I, support everything you're doing. I love what you're doing, and I can't wait to follow along and see how everything grows. Can you share how people can learn more about the project and how they can get in touch with you?
Absolutely. Really easy. Girlontheleft.com. That's where you will find all things about the project, about our authors, about the experience. We're always searching for new women that are ready to share and have the spotlight put on them. And you can also find me most active on socials on LinkedIn as Megan Dirks. Very easy to find.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being a guest. It's been a true pleasure and honor to have you here today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.